Greetings and welcome to the channel, welcome to the video. Today, instead of talking about the fan favorite W800, I'll be talking about the BMW G650GS. And there's a particular reason that I'm going to be talking about this bike this particular day, and that is the G650GS is the perfect bike to go exploring and play one of my favorite games, Where Does That Road Go? The reason for this is Where Does That Road Go often ends up on dirt and sometimes rough dirt roads, and so the G650GS is the perfect motorcycle to make those adventures on. So one of the first things that I'll talk about here is something that I think is pretty important, and that is I just recently got a GoPro 10, and I watched a bunch of videos on how to really get the wind noise down. So I went with the one with the furry stuff. I believe it's called a dead cat, but a double-sided tape in order to put it in place instead of the super glue method. And what I found was it did so good of a job that I have very little sound coming through. So that's one of the things that I'll admit to right off go is that that was probably a mistake to use the double-sided tape, because instead of getting the engine noise coming through like I'd like it to, I'm getting very little sound whatsoever getting through because of the double-sided tape and then the dead cat on top of that. So I think I need to do a hole in the middle of the double-sided tape in order to allow the sound to go through the dead cat and then directly into the microphone, as opposed to having that secondary barrier there. And it is a little thicker double-sided tape with 3M stuff. So that's one of the things I'll say right off go, is that the sound is not going to be coming really great through on the motorcycle video bit, and I'm not altering it at all. It's just what it is. The next thing I'll address is that a lot of the roads here in Vermont, I would say over half, at one point it was 60%, but I haven't checked that in a while, are dirt or not paved, I guess is a better way to put it, because it could be gravel, it could be dirt, it could be a mix of gravel and pitch, it could be a lot of different things, all the way down to what they would call trails or fire roads, and all the way down to single track, which not a lot of single track out where I am, because they tend to be snowmobile trails, and those turn into the ATV trails or the side-by-side trails in the summer, and they tend to be terrible to ride on a motorcycle because there's two massive ruts as you go, and so I tend to stay off of those. I tend to stay more on the privately maintained or city maintained dirt roads, and you can really get some fantastic views from them. They could be accessed from other motorcycles. My point for always taking the G650GS on this is it's light. It's a very light motorcycle. It's got plastic all over the place, so no dents or anything like that to worry about. And it's fairly easy to replace those parts and fairly inexpensive to replace those parts. And so it is a good jump around, throw around motorcycle. And it gives me the ability to go, there's a lot of really cool stuff down there. However, it doesn't get paved the entire way through, and so that's not an area where I would take somebody who's got a street bike, for instance, because then we're really, really slowing down, especially since most of these roads are crowned, which means the highest point is in the middle and everything slopes away, and oftentimes street tires just don't have the ability to provide a fairly high level of confidence on those type of roads. Of course, if you've got a three-wheeled vehicle like from Can-Am or something like that, where you've got the two wheels in front, of course you can do whatever you want to do and go wherever you want to go. That's not a problem at all. But if you're on two wheels, definitely a GS or another type of adventure bike or enduro bike is the best method to do that, in my humble opinion. Just because you don't have to worry too much about what happens. You do have to really watch for wildlife, because there are some really heavily wooded areas. And as it moves closer to summer, it's just greening up right now, but as it moves closer to summer, what we're really going to start seeing is a lot of blocked vision into the forest, because the ferns and everything grow up tall enough that basically you'll see a deer poke its head out when the head pokes out of the forest. You won't be able to look into the forest, 30, 40 feet in order to say, hey, there's a deer over there. You'll just see a wall of green, and so you really should be a little careful traveling the roads in Vermont. Wherever you're going, just because wildlife is 100% a specific thing to be careful about here. So I hope that this video, I do know it's short, but I did want to publish this out just with some cool scenery of some of the off-road or non-paved roads that we have here in the Northeast Kingdom. I hope you've got a great day ahead of you. Keep the shiny side up, the rubber side down, and keep it wheel.